But anyway, so I guess I'll start all over again. All right. So I was saying there is often people we hi Marcia, thanks for being here. So often people will talk about mental abuse, emotional abuse, or psychological abuse. And sometimes or many times actually we use it um we use either term to mean the exact same thing. So with emotional abuse, often just think about the term emotional. It talks about your emotions, your feelings. With mental abuse is what you're thinking. It controls your thoughts. So emotional abuse controls how you're feeling. Mental abuse controls how you are thinking. And then with psychological abuse, if you look at in the definition of the word psychological itself, it is it combines both how you're feeling and how you're thinking. Now, if you've been around me long enough, you know that you probably heard me say this before, but your thoughts control your feelings. So think about it, just, how often you might start feeling a certain way, and then take a moment, if that, just take even while we're talking right now or later, take a moment and start tracing the thought that you had before, while you had that feeling. So if I'm feeling like, nobody wants me, I feel rejected, most likely because in my thought process, I'm thinking that whatever happened to me, or maybe in the meeting, or maybe an outing with friends, whatever happened there, I start framing it as as rejection. So my brain is what start framing my circumstances and my situations and labeling them a certain way. And once I start framing things a certain way, then it start to generate certain feelings in me. Because if all I'm thinking is like, oh, nobody likes me, nobody no nobody there pay attention to me, people didn't acknowledge me, definitely I'm gonna start feeling rejected. I'm gonna start feeling lonely. I'm gonna start feeling like I don't matter, right? So it always starts with your brain, with your thoughts first. So that's why I'm saying, whatever we call it mental or emotional abuse, I think at the end it's all psychological, because you have to start thinking it first before you start feeling it. Okay. So, or the first thing, so I'm going to go through, 10 things that I think everyone should know about, psychological abuse, because often we only talk about the physical because that's what we see, right? We see the bruises, we see the blood, we see the cuts, and like, oh, this person being abused. But often there's lots and lots and lots of people, not just female, there's female and male alike, who suffer in silence because they don't see that what they're going through is actually abuse. They don't see it as abuse because again, nobody talks about it. And like, well, that's just the way he talks, or he's always angry, or that's just the way she responds all the time. And so I just want to kind of bring some light in our lives for all of us, so that we can start calling things for what they are. Because if we don't call them for what they are, they're going to keep impacting our lives, and then we keep moving, going through life with all these emotional wounds, and we're not realizing that it all came through some of the things that we've been through, some of the relationship we've been in. And when I say relationship, I'm not just talking about romantic relationship, but relationship in general. It could be relatives, it could be coworkers, it could be friends, it could be your own children, it could be your spouse. It doesn't really matter how you define it, but often it is it is in relationship that we start seeing these things. So number one, abuse is not always what we do, it can also be what we don't do. I'll say that again. Abuse is not always, maybe I'll start putting it down here. It's also what we don't do. Okay. So, because if you can think about it, when, for example, with children and youth, when they're, investigating families and stuff, something to look for neglect. Why do they see neglect as a sense of abuse? Because it's something that was supposed to be done and that was not done, right? But again, this goes along, along the spectrum for all of us. It doesn't matter what age you are. But sometimes when people are not doing the things that, they're supposed to do, the things they should do in a relationship, it can be turned into abuse. So think about it. Sometimes people give each other the silent treatment. How does that affect the person? What does that tell? Like, no, I'm just thinking even my own experience. When someone gives me the silent treatment, for too long, it tells me it starts telling me that I don't matter, that they don't see me, that I'm not worth their time. Well, you can only do that so often for so long until the person still literally feeling like they don't matter, like they don't, they're invisible, right? So, number one, abuse is not always, it's not always what we do, but it can also be what we don't do. So, be mindful in your relationship, are there things that, you are not doing that could be, hurting the other person? Okay. Number two, look in my note here, make sure I stay in line here. Number two, true love is not earned. I'll say that again. True love, I'm trying to put it here for the note as well. True love is not earned. And then why am I saying this? When people are often affected by, emotional or psychological abuse, they often get into the cycle where they're literally trying to earn the person's love. And sometimes they get to the point there's nothing they can do that actually makes a difference, right? They might be, cooking everything the person likes. So they might be get the person, you think the person wants, doing everything they ask of them. And sometimes the person that's being abused does not realize that this is literally a cycle that you're in because the other person trying to control how you feel about you feel. Now sometimes it's not, we're going to get to that, it's not always intentional, but this is what it tells to the person who's at the receiving end. It tells them that you are not worthy, you're not worthy of my love, you're not worthy of my time, and the person might just be trying, like, if I do one more thing, maybe they'll like me. If I do one more thing, maybe they'll be nicer to me. If I do one more thing, maybe they won't be yelling at me so much. True love is not earned. If you have to work that hard to win someone's love, please, that just, that is not love. Just don't call it love, right? Because that's not healthy. That's not healthy at all. So, just keep that in mind. Number three, and this one is, it is something that we know, all of us. I mean, it's all of us miss, especially in the beginning. Emotional wounds often leave deeper scars than physical wounds. Emotional wounds leave deeper scars than physical wounds. So when you see someone who's been physically abused, you might see a cut, you see a bruise, um, you see a cut, a bruise, you see, I don't know, the black and blue in the face and the arm, you see evidence that they've been hurt, physically hurt. But here's what happened. The wound might heal, the physical wound might heal, the black and blue in the face, whatever, that might go away. But what that incident have done to the person internally, that emotional wound itself lingers for years sometimes for a lifetime. And sometimes you'll find people that never been physically abused, nobody ever slapped them or kicked them or hit them, will be, I don't like comparing pain because you just we all experience pain differently. But sometimes you see them, their pain, their experience might be affecting them way more than somebody who's been physically hurt. And it's because of this one thing. Emotional wounds leave deeper scars. I can tell you in my own life, and and a lot of the women that I work with, who years after year, they've been carrying all these emotional wounds with them, and they come, some of them might be in the 50s, honestly, and they've been carrying emotional wounds from their 20s, their teenage even, and now they've been dealing with this, for 10, 20, 30 years, but those wounds are still there. Sometimes even the person who hurt them might never acknowledge that, know what happened. They might even be alive anymore, but the emotional wound is there. So emotional wounds leave deeper scars than physical wound. Number 4, love is an active verb, not a passive one. And I'll tap on that one here too. Love is an active verb and not a passive one. What do I mean by that? If you So it goes a little bit with number one. When I said, abuse sometimes is also things that we don't do. So the same thing. You can't tell someone that, I love you. And this doesn't matter. Like I said, this, I'm not talking about just romantic relationship here. I'm talking about life in general. Any type of relationship you have. We can't tell people we love them and then our actions show something different. Right? If we love people, it should show. Right? It is by your fruits that that our life shows, that our character shows. Love is an active verb. You can't say I love and then not be present. You can't say I love and then give the silent treatment. You can't say I love and be bitter. You can't say I love and hold grudges for too long. All those things leave those emotional wounds that we're talking about. Okay. So that was number 4. Number 5. No human being can save another. And these are in no particular order. So I'm not saying like, this is what you should know first, or this is what, affects people the most. No. Abuse is abuse and people get affected differently. So I'm just throwing these things here for you to consider. So what I've seen in my own life and the life of the women that I work with, we stay in relationship or we hold on to people. And like I said, this is not just romantic. It could be friends, could be co-worker. We hold on to people and things thinking that it will change in the future. Thinking that, I can make it better. Because remember with, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, first you start thinking that you have to do more to help in order for this person to treat you nicely. So then you take an ownership of somebody else's behavior when, to be honest, each one of us is responsible for their own actions. Yes, we support one another. Yes, we know we're there to build one another up, but each person is responsible for their own actions. We can't think that we're going to change the person. And I'm not saying this to say if somebody been mean to you once and you've been affected by it and you said, oh no, goodbye, I'm done, I'm moving on, you don't exist in my life. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you to go there and start, making enemies of everybody. That's not what I'm saying. Because when you think about it too, with abuse, it's not just a one-time incident usually that you're looking for, especially with emotional, mental abuse. You're looking for a pattern. Looking for things that are happening over and over and over again. You're looking that, for things, so maybe the person who, today they yell at you and make you feel, worse than, less than, and you mention that's like, oh, tomorrow I'll do better. I'm sorry this happened. And then 3 months later, they might do it again. Sometimes people, it might be even a year later, they might still do it again. Right? And you're trying to look for that pattern. Is there like real repentance? Is the person actually really changing? And even if they're changing, remember, it's not your job to make them change. Because if you're staying in a situation because you want to change the person, you're going to get stuck there forever. You're going to keep accruing all these emotional wounds on yourself because you're trying to save this person. I mean, no one can save anybody. No human can save another. Pray for them, give them, send them to resources, direct them to help. Especially like if somebody has anger management, it's not how nice you talk to them or how nice you clean their shoes or how nice you cook for them that, their anger are going to go away. No, they have to deal with their own, condition. They have to deal with their own issues. So just remember that it's not your place to change them. It's your place to, to reveal what is wrong, to stand up and, speak the truth and mention what needs to be changed. But it's not your work. It's not your place to do the work for them. Otherwise, it's never genuine. It's never sustainable. They have to take ownership of their own actions. Okay. All right. Where was I? I think that was number 5. So number 6, with that, the idea of nobody, no human can save another. And this one, people, I might be stepping on toes here, but I had to throw this out there because I've heard this over and over again. Sometimes staying for the kids might cause more damage than you realize. Because I've seen, people instead of performing tough love, instead of being honest with themselves, they think, well, if I stay because my kids are younger, that as they get older, this will go away, or I'll stay to take care of them. What we don't realize is that we're showing our kids that this is okay. And this is why sometimes abuse goes for generation after generation. There's a lot of statistic out there showing how many the kids who, lived in an abusive situation or grew up in an abusive home tend to exhibit the same behavior. And because that became normal for them. So I ask you this, is that what you want for your kids? Is that what you want for your family? And like I said before, I'm not telling anybody to get up and leave. I'm telling you, if you're not safe, please get up. I want you to be safe. But I'm saying, again, we're looking for pattern here. Let people get the help they need. Let people figure out, deal with their own demons, as we call them sometimes. Deal with their own, the dark side of themselves. And this is man or female. Like, I'm really, not trying to take sides here. Okay? All right. Number 7. Commitments that are not kept today become promises that are not kept tomorrow. I'll say that again. Commitments, if I can spell, that are not kept today become promises that are never kept tomorrow. So back to the idea of pattern, like I mentioned. You're looking for pattern, you're looking to see, if the person's making progress, if they're really changing, right? But if the person's making, if really, as you're starting this relationship with this person, you're starting, this friendship, and every time they commit to something, they never follow through. And there seems to be no remorse about it. Don't think that, 10 years from now, that behavior is just going to change overnight. Right? Or, it's not. So often what you see now, if you're really seeing those red flags, right now, please take care of yourself. Don't commit to red flags. Commit to long-lasting relationship because you want it and it's healthy. If you're really seeing red flags right now, and definitely that commitment, it is a big red flag when people don't follow through, or like I said, they say they're going to change and they never change. It's been a month or a year, and they're doing the same thing that the same thing they did before, and you're thinking it's going to change tomorrow. Well, sometimes things don't change until we do. Meaning sometimes you have to love yourself enough, to put some distance in order to allow the person to, the time and the space to do their own healing, so that their stuff don't affect you. Okay? All right. So number 8. This one is also one that, sometimes we just don't think of. But both the abuser and the victim can be ignorant of the abuse. Meaning not all abuse is intentional. So just because someone's doing something that you might call, as abuse, you think, it's mean, it's not nice, and it's going on, for a long period of time, it's affecting you or affecting somebody else. Sometimes it's, outsiders, it's third parties. Like when you're looking from the outside in, then you can start, sometimes noticing those patterns that are not healthy. But the people who are living the situation themselves don't always see that. So yes, if you see it's your friend, it's your cousin, it's your sister, it's your brother, it's your, niece, it's your child, please, take the time to talk to them, take the time to support them, take the time to point out to them those red flags, have those difficult conversations, because you never know. You want to be preventive and proactive before things get worse. I don't know if you watched some of the interviews that I did for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but all 3 of those ladies that, the one I can think of right now, 3 of them all could relate that it was, it was emotional and verbal abuse first before it became physical. Now, so if you see, I think it was in one of the videos that I say, if you hear something, see something, do something, right? Because we should all be gatekeepers for others, especially because of this one, because not all abuse is intentional. The person doing it might not even know that they're doing it. They think that's just the way to be. Nobody, honestly, many people don't realize that the silent treatment, if done too long, becomes abusive. It's just so if you see something, you hear something, do something, you know. All right. Number 9, tomorrow might be too late. And I can't tell you if, if you go like on the national website for domestic violence website, like it's sad. You see stories and you hear stories after stories of people, male and female, who lost their life because they were in an abusive relationship. So let me just put it here. So if it's you, if it's someone you know, it's someone you work with, it's a neighbor, please do something. And if you don't know what to do, honestly, it's giving them resources that's in the community. And if you need resources, please, contact me. Like here in Pennsylvania, we have CPARC and PCAR, sorry, the Pennsylvania Coalition Against Rape, Pennsylvania Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And each state has, entity like that. And even with the YWCA, there's, those all across the nation, and they have services for people who are dealing with some of the things we're talking about here. And even the moment, if you honestly don't know what to do, just call 911 and let them sort it out. Let them make sure the person is safe. Because you want to say, oh no, just doing this today. Today they might yell at you. Tomorrow they might yell at you. The day after that they might kick. The day after that they might try to suffocate you. And I'm not saying that to take this lightly. If you watch the interviews that I've done from some of the ladies, you're gonna realize that this is true things that happen to people. It doesn't always start like boom, something that drastic. Sometimes it's a progression. They start affecting how you're feeling first, controlling your mind, controlling how you think. And then it goes into, you start feeling, like that's what you deserve. Like you can't get out of it. They say you're stuck. There's no way out. And then when you're at that state where you're weak and vulnerable, you kind of feel almost like defenseless. And that's when things often get worse. So just remember that. Tomorrow might be too late. Number 10, and this is what I want to leave you with. You are worth more than your experiences. So no matter what you've been through, no matter what you had to deal with, no matter what your experience has been, I want you to know that you are worth more than that. If you're here listening to this, like I said, tomorrow might be too late. Like don't, really seize every opportunity you have to take care of yourself, to claim who you are, to claim in the dreams and hopes that you have for yourself. And no matter what happened to you, what you dealt with, there is hope. There is, a way out. There are resources to help you. And maybe if you're like some of us who've been through this in the past, and then we move on through life thinking that we're okay, and then when things happen, we're like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize this still affects me. If you are carrying emotional wounds from your past, emotional wounds from some of the abuse you've been through, I want to tell you that there is hope. Starting on the 6th, so about a week from yesterday, so in about 6 days here, I'm launching another cohort of Rewrite Your Story. But Rewrite Your Story is the program. It takes the ladies 10 weeks. Through that program, it's anybody who has any type of emotional wound. It's not just emotional abuse here, but maybe you had you lost a loved one, and maybe you lost a child. Maybe you went through a really hard time financially, and you still feel like as much as you're doing better in life now, but those wounds are still there. It's affecting you how you see life, or maybe you just feel like you're stuck in your past. You're just stuck in that fear, or maybe your experiences are making it hard for you to trust and love again. if that's you, if you have any type of, emotional wounds, also we call trauma, I invite you. I really, really invite you to be part of this. The program, like I said, starts on the 6th, and it's for 10 weeks. But during those 10 weeks, the first session we meet live. It's online, so anyone can join. We meet online for an hour, and you actually get 5 live sessions during the 10 weeks, where we actually, you get, my counseling, we get my coaching from me, and we get to dig deeper through what your experience is, and why, where, and what you're going through right now, and how to start finding healing, how you can find joy and peace and freedom again, from whatever emotional pain that you're carrying right now. Then like the over weeks in between, because the program is 10 weeks. So the weeks in between, there's actually a curriculum that I walk you through. So you get a recorded session that you watch, and then there's a personal application. There's always an assignment after each week that you're actually taking the time to, look into your own situation and start peeling out the layers and start healing. At the end of the program, and each week you're writing you're writing about the experience, and the way it's set up is that at the end of the program, at the 10th week, that every person in the program gets to share the story, and they, not just the story of what happened to them, but how they reframe it, how they see themselves as an overcomer and not just a victim, how, their experiences, how maybe I taught them something, the lessons they learned, the strength they gained through their experience. That's usually what helps all of us heal, is when we start giving meaning to our circumstances. So if this is you, if you are still, stuck in your past and dealing with, painful experiences from the past that are keeping you, in bondage, that are keeping you from enjoying life, that are keeping you in fear, that are keeping you, finding it difficult to trust, if you're stuck there because of something that happened to you in the past, if you have any type of trauma, this program is for you. And I'm going to drop the link here in a little bit. And I'm going to drop the link here in a little bit. Problem with that because I don't have it open here. But I want you, I really encourage you to take advantage of this. Because I said, tomorrow might be too late. And if you've already been dealing with this for a long time, you know how it's affecting your life. You don't want to keep going through this, over and over again, and keep living the same struggle. It is time to heal. You are worth more than that. Like I said, that's what I want to leave you with. You are worth more than what happened to you. Hope is still possible. Life is still, you can still enjoy life. You can still, move forward with your life and still living your dreams. Don't let your past steal your joy. Don't let your past steal your dreams. Don't let your past, steal your life even, or your identity. So this program here, this is what it's for, is to help you reclaim who you are, and then find healing and keep moving forward. Like I said, the program starts on the 6th, and then we meet 5 times live during those 10 weeks. And the over 5 weeks, you get recordings from it. And for anybody interested, I want to post the link here. I'm trying to pull it up as I speak. I'm going to post the link so that you can, there, I think I found it now, so that you can join if you're interested. And if you're interested in the cost and all that, it's on the page. But for anyone who wants to do like a weekly payment, it's $33 each week for the 10 weeks. There you go. Alrighty, so that's it. I'm gonna go get my kids ready for bed now. Thank you for being here. If you're catching this later, catching the replay, please put #replay. And if you have any questions, post it here. I'll come back. For those of you watching the replay, the beginning of the video, there was no sound. The sound wasn't working. So I'll see if I can go back and edit that somehow. But if not, just, hang in there and keep, listening into, or fast forward. I'll put a comment about that too. Fast forward to where there's sound. All right, guys, take care of yourself. And remember, you are worth more than your experiences. All right, bye now.